Luke, we're in Tamworth. The PDC have just announced a new partnership, Darts on Your Doorstep. What's all that about?
Yeah, it's about, we've got 250 venues that are going to be kitted out, with new dartboards, new lights, they're going to have proper hockeys, they're going to have decent lighting, all these type of things that are going to help them. They're going to, put them into 250 venues, like I said, and it's going to really benefit the younger generation. We want them, not on the streets doing nothing. Come and, play in your local club, play darts. It's a great opportunity for, like I said, this younger generation to, to pick up darts and see if they're good, because great opportunity nowadays with all the rewards that you can get in the PDC.
Does this show how much the sport is changing? Because before you'd get a lot of players entering the sport at quite an older age, whereas now we've seen Luke Little, a teenager. You yourself, you're only 29 years old and achieved so much, and now we're getting younger kids into the sport from a young age, like you would see, say, football, for example.
Yeah, and it's important that, 10, 15 years ago, it was more of a, the older person sport, and most of the top 60 in the world were like over 35, 40. Nowadays, the most of them are under 30, but I could see that changing in 5, 10 years to under 25. It's slowly creeping down. It's slowly becoming a younger person sport, and I think that's great for it as a whole. With this initiative, if all these youngsters come in here, start playing in these clubs and realising they're good at it, can you imagine how good the sport's going to be in 10 years with all the talent that's coming through? You could have some kid that don't even know how good he is at darts until he finally comes into this club and as a throw, and all of a sudden he could, follow in the footsteps of me being the world champion.
Is it a strange feeling that, you would hope to still be playing in about 16, 17 years' time, and somebody who's not been born yet could be competing against you for the biggest titles because of initiatives like this?
Yeah, it's quite scary, isn't it? It's kind of, I don't really want to think that far ahead, I'm still young, but of course, yeah, I'm hoping that I'll still be playing in 16, 17 years. But this initiative won't just help the generation that's alive now. Hopefully it will help the generation that ain't even been born yet. So, this is something that obviously the PDC want to do in the long term, not just a short-term thing. And it benefits them as well, because from this, I think you'll find unearthed talent. It's bound to happen. It happens in football when they do these type of things. So yeah, I think that it's going to benefit the PDC as well, and I think that you can have an influx of really, really top players coming through.
And we've just seen the draw for the Grand Slam as well. Well, I know you don't like the phrase defending a title, but you won it last year. What are your thoughts on your group? The big name in your group is James Wade.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter who you draw. There's never an easy one. All players are qualified on merit, and no one's going to be easy to beat. All these players can play well. Rowby played fantastic in the World Cup. Mickey Mansell, in my opinion, one of the most underrated dart players on tour, and then James Wade, who in my opinion is one of the toughest players to beat. So they've got a case that they can all qualify, including myself. But it's important that you win that first game. You don't want to be putting unadded pressure on yourself straight away. And my first game against Rowby, I hope I set a marker up for myself, play really well, and put myself in a good opportunity just to make sure I get through the group stage.
And in that group stage format, what are the nerves like? Because on one hand, if you do lose, it's not absolutely fatal, but best of 9 legs, it's over in a flash.
Yeah, I don't tend to put too much pressure on myself in the first game. Like you say, it's not the end of the world if you lose, but I'd really like to do like I did last year, and that's not lose a game. I think as much as you won't care, you don't really want to win a tournament by losing the game. So yeah, for me, I won't put that added pressure on me, but I want to top the group, and the chance of doing that, you most likely have to win all 3 games. So you know what I'm like, I'm a perfectionist. I never want to, I'd rather finish first than second. So yeah, I think for me, it's always make sure that you're fully prepared in every game, not just the first or the last.
You played so much darts this year with the World Series and of course your debut in the Premier League, and as the world champion you've been doing a lot more things like this with the media. How have you found it difficult to pace yourself throughout the year to make sure that when you've got all these majors at the end of the year that you've got those energy levels and those energy reserves to kick on like you did last year?
Yeah, I think it helps being young. It's been tough. It's been tough in moments where there's been parts of the year where I've been away for like 10 days solid, and that can take out you, not just physically but mentally as well. You can't moan too much because you're incredibly blessed to be able to do what I do. I wouldn't have it any other way, but of course there is moments in the year that can become challenging. You kind of feel like you're playing 5-6 days a week, which is, sometimes you just want to break, and as you sim through the year, sometimes I've had a break, I've pulled out a tournament, Pro Tours or Euro Tours, which I will, do again next year because it's important to have time off as well. But overall, I think it's been a good year as well. I think I've been at a higher level this year than I was last year, so if I can keep this level up for the next, say, 5 years, there's no doubt that I'll win many more titles in the future. But of course, you want them now. When you're playing well, you want them straight away. So yeah, it's a good opportunity for me to hopefully pick up a major before the Worlds come around.
We've seen a few surprise major winners this year with Richie Edhouse and Mike De Decker. Does that almost show more how big of an achievement it was for you? Because anybody can win a major, and I know people used to always say that, but genuinely now it seems anybody can, and yet you were winning all of them.
Yeah, that's true. It helps, of course, that there's so many new winners, and it gives them hope that anybody can win. With Mike and Rishi, I think all the other players now will think, well, I can win. If he can win and he's won, I can win. And I think that they maybe took that inspiration from me in the first instinct. I think a lot of people was expecting me to win a major, but I did, and I thought, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And I think that's just the positive effect it has on everyone. But yeah, it does show how hard that I've had it, to win them major tournaments. I've had to beat the best and beat people that are fearless. So, that year that I've had over that 12 months will always stay with me for the rest of my life, even if I do it again. It was the making of me.
At the European Championship, it was a huge arena in Germany, and there was a breeze on stage. But as the PDC grow, they are going to move to larger venues. We're seeing in other sports, such as golf and tennis, that players might have different equipment to adjust to changing conditions. Is that something that could creep in darts, where a player might take on, say, different weight of dart or different stems or something to try and adjust to other factors that may affect players?
Unfortunately, yes. I think I will personally have to do it. The difference between my dart and most players' dart is that mine is so balanced on the back end of it. Long stem, the flight. If the air's breezy, my darts just flip around, going everywhere, and it's impossible for me to keep them straight. And it's so frustrating because they're kind of not going where I'm throwing them, and it's incredibly hard. So for me, it's something that will have to come in. Maybe I'll have to get a heavier dart, and if it does happen, then change to it. And if the breeze has stopped, then I'll go back to my old set.
Luke, thank you for talking to us.
My pleasure. Thank you.